Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming on and joining the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency's Road Home New Jersey Home Buying Webinar. I am Cynthia Gonzalez, and I'm the Planning and Events Coordinator here at NJHMFA. First, I want to let you know that we are recording this webinar and it will be visible to the public. So if you do have your camera on and you do not want to be shown, please shut it off now. And throughout this presentation, we will be showing a lot of information today. So with that said, please notice on your Zoom toolbar, mine shows at the bottom, but there's a chat box. And this is where I'll be uploading a lot of helpful links, some PDF attachments. Feel free to copy those, but also know that if you registered for this event, which is usually the case, that's how you got here, you will be getting an email tomorrow with all of those resources in it as well. So don't worry about copying it if you don't want to, but just know it's there and you will be getting that email tomorrow. If you did not register for this and someone just happened to share their Zoom link with you, then please feel free in that chat box to direct message me your name and email address, and I can get you added to that email and emails going forward from HMFA on home buying. So I also want to mention, if you're on the phone or on the computer, please just make sure you're muted so we don't have any background noise. If you have questions once we're at the Q&A portion, feel free to unmute, or also use that chat box and just put your questions there and we could address them once we get to the Q&A portion. Lastly, I think that's it with how to use all of Zoom and everything. I would like to introduce our first speaker, who we call the face of our agency here at NJHMFA, Jesse Crawford, and he's our Lender Outreach and Marketing Coordinator. Over to you, Jesse.
Thank you, Cynthia. Before we get started, I want to introduce the famous Russell Graves and have him say a few words and speak about what he does in his organization. I think it's vital that he share his information with everyone on this particular Zoom call.
Hello, everybody. Russell Graves, I'm the Executive Director of Consumer Credit and Budget Counseling. We are a statewide housing counseling agency and very active, helping home buyers and new home buyers buy homes. We offer all kinds of assistance in that, as far as one, providing the homeowner education, as well as counseling to help home buyers get their credit to a place where they're eligible to buy a home. Our services are free, and we'll be happy to help anybody along the way. Our website, which I'll put in the chat, is cc-bc.com, consumer credit budget counseling.com, and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you all, and thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Russell. Russell and I go way back, and we've been partnering together and working together for a number of years out on the front lines, helping folks with their issues with either credit or purchasing their first home, or folks foreclosure and other things. So Russell is a great man, and his organization does a lot. And the thing that I like about what Russell said was the word free. Credit counseling for free. And that's what I wanted to emphasize, because it's needed for our program in order as a requirement. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but thank you again, Russell, for sharing.
Thank you.
My name is Jesse Crawford. I am the Marketing and Outreach Coordinator for the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency. And tonight, I want to share some vital information with you regarding our first-time home buyer program, and go over our products and the requirements, and just to let you know how you can achieve the dream of homeownership. I'm going to share my screen. And can you see my screen okay, Sin?
Yep, see it good.
Let me maximize this. Okay, maximizing the first-time home buyer opportunities with down payment assistance through our agency. A little bit about us. New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency, or HMSA, so that's a mouthful, provides for affordable ownership and housing opportunities for New Jersey residents. Okay, we respond to the needs of residents by implementing creative programs, establishing alliances that fund affordable home mortgages for first-time home buyers, and our programs are offered through our network of approved lenders. I want to give you a little bit of statistics. The National Association of Realtors said the first-time home buyers make up 33% of all home buyers. Largest share of home buyers continues to be from the age group of 25 to 34, which accounts for 54% of all buyers. Also, according to the National Association of Realtors, 71% of all first-time home buyers were previously renting an apartment or a house. Now, studies show that there are barriers why renters do not purchase or cannot purchase a home. Those barriers might be down payment and closing costs, or just qualifying for a mortgage. Other barriers are the amount of debt they might have, or whether or not they're secure in their job for the proper length of time, even whether or not they're ready to settle down to buy a house. And lastly, one of the issues that we see in New Jersey right now is not enough inventory or not enough homes for sale. So as you can see in this chart, 68% of stated that affording the down payment was an issue for them. 53% qualifying for the mortgage. 50% said the amount of debt that they had or have was hindering them from qualifying or saving money for down payment. Down payment and closing costs, specifically 9 in 10, 88% low-income renters said that having the money for down payment and closing costs was a major obstacle, okay? Middle-income renters, 72% of them also indicated the same challenge, and 62% of low-income renters stated that that same obstacle, and 39% of middle-income renters considered having funds a major obstacle for homeownership, having funds for the down payment and closing costs. And this is just a quick snapshot of other things that prevent homeowners or delay them from being able to purchase a home. The amount of student loan debt that they might have, credit card debt, car loans, child care expenses, and others. Now I want to get into a bit of our programs, what we have. We have 2 foundational mortgage programs, okay? The first one is called our first-time home buyer mortgage, and the second one is called our homeward bound mortgage. Now they're both 30-year fixed government insured loans, meaning either FHA, VA, TA, okay? And we provide a competitive interest rate for the mortgage, and I'll get into a little bit later, we provide, or coupled with that, down payment assistance to help you with your purchase to cover your down payment and closing costs. Now, our interest rates are determined by our agency, and we send out our lenders each and every business day by 10 a.m. the rates for our program. The lenders do not dictate the rates. The lenders don't set the rate. They can't change the rate. We determine what the rate is going to be each and every day based on market conditions. Now, I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of the difference between these 2 programs. And the first-time home buyer program, minimum credit score is 620 or higher, okay? Homeward bound is exactly the same. The first-time home buyer has income limits of a little bit more, and I'm gonna show you income limits in another slide. Whereas the homeward bound allots for higher income limits. So if you don't qualify for the first-time home buyer program, you most definitely or most likely will qualify for the homeward bound program. The first-time home buyer has lower debt-to-income ratios. The income ratios for the first-time home buyer are 40 on the front and 45 on the back. For the homeward bound, it's 50 on the front and 50 on the back. So that makes a big difference if you have debt that you have to pay each and every month and you're trying to qualify for a mortgage. You need the higher debt-to-income ratios. Both mortgages are 30-year fixed mortgages, and they both have low interest rate mortgages, but the homeward bound is slightly higher because of the different requirements with the higher debt-to-income ratios and also allotting for a higher income limit. So that's really the only difference. The current interest rate for the first-time home buyer is 2.125, I believe, and for the homeward bound, it's 3.75. Now, for each program, the borrower is required to complete a HUD-approved credit counseling course, such as the one that Russell provides for free. This course will take you through the steps of understanding a number of things: budgeting, understand how to read your credit report, understanding how your mortgage breakdown of principal, taxes, interest, and insurance. Also, at the completion of your credit counseling, you will receive a certificate. That certificate is good for 1 year. Also, that certificate is required with your closing package for review as a requirement for our first-time homebuyer mortgage and our down payment assistance program. So it's required, and some HUD-approved credit agencies charge a small fee for this course, but if you can find one such as Russell's that it's free, that's even better. And lastly, on this particular slide, and I believe we had a question earlier in our chat function about investment or income properties. You can utilize these funds, our down payment assistance funds, to purchase your home, up to a 1 to 4 family unit. And if you purchase a 1 to 4 family unit or 2 family unit, the requirement is that you must reside in one of those units as your primary residence for 5 years. And as long as you do that, there's nothing that you have to pay back in terms of the down payment assistance grant, which is $10,000. Now, getting into the actual down payment itself, this is what I call free money. At the end of the day, this is free money, okay? NJHMFA, our DPA program provides qualified homeowners $10,000 towards down payment and closing costs, okay? The DPA is a $10,000, what we call forgivable loan, meaning there are no payments and there's no interest rate. It's not a grant, it's a loan at no interest with no payments, okay? And the DPA is a sub-program to be coupled with our New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency's mortgage, okay? So you couple those two together, you have a mortgage, you get the down payment assistance of $10,000 to help cover your down payment and closing costs. There's no, you pay your mortgage payment, there are no payments on the $10,000 again, because it's a forgivable loan, no payments and zero interest for 5 years, okay? And the DPA must be coupled with, as I said earlier, a government-insured mortgage, such as FHA, VA, or USDA. Now, we don't offer currently conventional mortgages, but we anticipate by the end of the year or before the end of the year, we will. So that's going to be another opportunity and another resource for folks looking to purchase their first home, and utilizing a conventional mortgage, okay? And down payments are gonna be somewhere between 3 and 3.5%. And in most cases, you're gonna get that 3.5% from us utilizing the $10,000 for your down payment and closing costs. So technically, or in my book, that's free money at the end of the day. You adhere to the guidelines of the program. You reside in the home as your primary residence for 5 years after purchasing, without selling, without refinancing, and obviously without defaulting on your mortgage. The $10,000 is completely forgiven. Now, in the event that you receive the $10,000 and for some reason you decide you want to move, you want to leave the state, you want to sell the home, you want to refinance, before the 5-year period is up, you will be required to pay back the $10,000 in full, okay? But as long as you stay put for 5 years, after 5 years, the $10,000 is forgiven, and you can do whatever you want with the home. You can refinance, you can sell, you can rent it out. It's your prerogative to do whatever you want to do at that particular time, okay? Now, the great thing is that we now offer, you can utilize these funds for new construction. So if you find a development that's being constructed and you want to purchase one of those homes, you can utilize our DPA and our mortgage to purchase new construction. And obviously it has to be your primary residence in the state of New Jersey for 5 years. Borrowers also can utilize what they call seller concessions with the down payment assistance, so you can couple them together. And if you look at it this way, you could theoretically purchase a home with little or no money out of your pocket at all. So if your realtor is working diligently and can agree with the seller for a concession for you to buy that home, that's additional funds that you can couple with our down payment to purchase your home. Eligible properties. Again, the property must be located in the state of New Jersey. It must be a single family home. It can be obviously a 1 to 4 family unit, but it must be a single family home. It can be a condo, townhome, a manufactured home, or a mobile home. And if it's a mobile home, it has to be on a fixed foundation, okay? And lastly, on this particular slide, 1 to 4 family unit, of which 1 unit is to be occupied by the borrower as his or her principal residence for 5 years. Now, our down payment assistance is the solution to one of the leading reasons why consumers do not purchase homes, and that's capital for down payment and closing costs and other expenses. So we have the funding to help you purchase your home. We have a list of approved lenders that we will work with you to get pre-qualified. I'm going to go over that slide in a minute. But this is a solution for folks who can't save enough money for down payment or closing costs. And that's why we are here to help you navigate or get over this particular hurdle. The last link on this particular slide is for realtors and potential home buyers, okay? We have a guide called the Road Home New Jersey Guide, okay? And this guide takes you through the steps of buying a home. It takes you from the beginning, where you're trying to get pre-qualified, where you're trying to find an attorney, a realtor. It takes you through step by step. There's mortgage calculators in this particular guide. There's terms, a glossary of terms in the back. So if you come across a term that you're not familiar with, you can flip to the back of the guide and look up the term, and it'll give you the definition. It's a great resource for first-time home buyers. It's in a PDF format. We also have it in a hardcover or I should say softcover guide that we can mail out to realtors if any realtors are on the call to give to their particular clients or first-time homebuyer clients. So it's a great resource, and I believe this link is in the chat. You can click on it and download it to your computer and view it at any time. Now, to get started, you simply have to reach out to one of our lenders on either our approved lender list, or you can utilize the link that's on the top of this particular slide. The lender request form, you click on the link, and let me see if I can click on it and show you guys really quick what it looks like. Let me go here, new share, and here we go. Find a lender. So if you need to be paired with a lender, what typically the lender is going to do is take some information from you. They're going to pre-qualify you, tell you how much mortgage you can afford, and then now you know how much home you can afford. The next step would be connecting with a realtor, and the realtor would then take you out looking for homes within your price range, and then write up the contract, and then work with the seller and all parties involved to get you to closing. That's the job of the realtor. The realtor's commission is paid by the seller. You don't pay the realtor any money at all. Everything's paid by the seller. Okay? But this form here, you put in your email address, your name, phone number, what county you most likely want to purchase in, and whether or not you want to utilize our down payment assistance and closing costs, and what type of interaction you would like, face-to-face, over the phone, online, what language you speak, and other information, what time best to contact you. And what's going to happen is we're going to refer to you 3 of our top lenders to reach out to you, and then you can select from there which lender you would like to use. And then they're going to pre-qualify you again and then move you along through this process and get you to closing. Let me go back and share. Now, if there's anybody on the call who wants to take advantage of our DPA, and you currently pre-qualified by a lender that's not on our approved list, you can have them contact us through sflenders@njhmfa.gov, and we can get them on our participating list, and you can take advantage of our $10,000 down payment assistance. So, don't fret if your lender's not on the list, and if you need these funds to help you purchase your home, why not take advantage of it? Just let your lender know about the program, have them reach out to us, and we'll work with them to get them enrolled in our programs. That's my presentation in a nutshell. I hope I didn't talk too fast, but my information is on the screen here. You can always email me at any time with any questions after this particular webinar, or you can call me at the number listed on the screen. Email is best, but if you call me, leave me a voicemail, and I promise I will get back to you. But we're here to help answer your questions. Don't feel intimidated. No question is dumb. Every question is fine, okay? And I will answer them or get the proper information to you. So feel free to email me with any questions or concerns that you might have. And let me stop sharing here. And with that, are there any questions? You can just unmute yourself if you have any questions.
Do you have to live in New Jersey to qualify for this program?
Is this Barbara?
Yes.
Barbara, that's a great question. And to answer your question, no. You can be coming from New York to New Jersey, but you're going to have to live in the home here in New Jersey for 5 years after purchase.
Okay, thank you.
A great question.
Hi, this is Sean. I wanted to know, like, can you give the benefit, the pros and cons, well, the pros of this program as opposed to a program like NACA?
Just reiterate your question again.
The question was, can you give the pros of this program as opposed to a program like NACA?
NACA has their own program. They go through a specific lender, and I think Russell can attest to that. Our program is from our agency. We're a state agency that generates our own income. This down payment assistance funds are coming from our agency, and NACA is a separate program. And if you're asking if you could couple the two together, the answer is no. That's a totally separate program with a totally separate bank. Was that the question?
No, I wasn't asking if you could couple the two together. I was asking, I guess, just what are the benefits per se of this program as opposed to a program like NACA?
Well, I don't know all the ins and outs of NACA's program. Russell, do you have information about their Dpa or anything like that?
No, I don't. And you know, in the past, NACA's program was a fairly good program, but today more than ever, New Jersey HMFA's programs, at least their interest rates are very, very competitive. There have been years where they weren't, but today they are very, very competitive. They have made a real effort to make sure that their numbers are in line or lower than the market.
Yeah, we've come a long way, and you've seen it.
Great, thank you. Yep, I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's Siobhan.
Yes,
Thank you for that question.
thank you for your responses, both of you.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Does everyone that will be on the deed per se for the home, does everyone have to have 620 score?
Whoever's on that mortgage, the minimum credit score is 620. Okay.
Okay.
And do you know how they calculate your middle score?
You can tell me.
It's gonna cost you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Basically, what they do is they look at all three credit reports, and they look at the high score. Very simply, look at the low score, and they discard those two, and what's left is considered your middle score. Now, for me, that's not how you calculate a middle score. To me, I would just average all three, but that's not how they do it with the credit bureaus. Okay. So your middle score is the one that's in the middle between the lowest score that you have from the three reports and the highest score. Okay.
Okay, I understand.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you have somebody who is has a lower score and you need them to work on it, they can call me as well, and we will help them find a way to increase their score. We've got a couple tools, Credit Expert and different things like that, that can give them a fairly good idea on what it would take to increase their score. Sometimes it's really not that much to get mortgage ready. You know, if they were close, you know, 610 or 600, to raise it to 620 might not take a lot. And you would, you know, if it delayed you by a month or two, okay, we can certainly help with that.
Okay.
If you're
Thank you.
not ready today, don't be dismayed. We can get you ready. Okay. You apply for the mortgage, you know you're going to get it. You know, when you're working with the housing counseling agency, they're going to show you what you need to do to become ready. And when you do that, you'll be smarter, more educated. You know what you're getting into, and we want you to succeed from the get-go.
Okay.
Go ahead, Beth. Beth had a question?
Yes, I actually work with the deed restricted COA affordable housing. And so it's my understanding that this program is not compatible with deed restricted affordable housing.
You're absolutely correct.
Is that gonna change in any time?
It may change when we move to a conventional
Conventional?
product, but as of right now, no, it's with the FHA and, VA and USDA, that's not going to change right now, until we move to a conventional program that it might change.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Jesse, there's a question in the chat. If
Okay,
you want me to read it off to you.
sure.
Do you have the down payment assistance for new construction, like a modular home?
The question is, are we providing down payment assistance for that? The answer is yes. You can utilize it for that, for modular home. And as I stated earlier, if it's a mobile home, it has to be on a fixed foundation. Can't just wheel it from town to town. You got to have it sitting on something permanently.
Thank you, Jesse. Does anyone else have questions right now for Jesse or even Russell before we?
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm Shakira. How much money do you have to have in your account? Like, do you have to have a certain amount of money sitting in your bank in order to utilize this program?
Well, to qualify for the mortgage, one of the requirements is you're going to have 2.5 months reserves. You're going to need to show that either from your 401k statement or pension, or it can be a gift from a family member. This is a great question. Or it can be sitting in your checking account. They just need to know you have reserves just in case something happens and you could get mortgage if you're out of work for a month or you get sick or something like that. That's all they really need to see is 2 months reserves. Okay.
Thank you.
The only other question I have is just how to get the information to partake in the credit counseling to get the assistance in the help.
Well, Russell's information is in the chat. And if you just click on that and reach out, Russell will take it from there. You're in good hands with Russell. I don't promote folks on my webinars, but Russell is the real deal. So you're in good hands with Russell.
There you go. I am not in tomorrow, but I will be in following week, and tomorrow's just one of my days off.
Okay. So I'll get your information out of the webinar.
Thank you.
And Stacy, you had registered for this event, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you'll get the email tomorrow as well. That will have our link on our website that'll bring you to housing counseling, and you'll see Russell's within that page as well. Just look for just look for his, which is the consumer credit budget counseling.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I have a question too. I was wondering, I work almost part-time job, and I have a startup business, and they said that I can't use the money that I make for the startup business towards the total amount I would be eligible for the mortgage. So what would make sense? Would I save some of that money to put down on it and still be qualified for the down payment, or how does that work? How would that work for me? To be able to get because what I'm looking at, hoping to get like a $180,000 to $200,000 mortgage, and I've worked with my one company for more than 4 years and in the industry for more than 20 years. But my startup company is only like 3 months old. So they're not going to allow me to utilize the amount I make because it's a new business. I haven't been in business for more than 2 years. So how would I be able to apply some of that money that I make from the job, from the business, to allow me to afford more house? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a question with the lender to see how creative they can get. I know in terms of work history, they look at how large of a gap there has been between your work history, and they're going to look at taxes for the last 3 years. Is there a major gap?
No, not at all. I have continuously worked at my I'm a social worker, and that's my regular job. but I just started up a new business. And so with the new business, it's new. So we're doing pretty well right now, but they say that you need 2 years of tax returns for the business. So my question is, how, like you said, I probably have to get creative. The mortgage person will have to get creative, because that money I want to use towards getting a larger mortgage for for the home that I want.
And the only way you're gonna be
You
able
know
to
what
do
I'm
that,
saying?
yeah, I hear you. And that's something you're gonna have to work with the lender and be honest with your situation and what's going on. But if you look at it this way, the mortgage company is gonna qualify you based on monthly income. That's what they're gonna qualify you on, monthly income, not anything else. They want to know how much money you're generating each and every month consistently, okay? And then any other monies that you might have, you might be able to pay down some things to lower your mortgage payment or the cost of the home. That's what I mean by being creative. That's something you have to work with your lender, and they're gonna say, yeah, we can do this, or no, we can't, or maybe you wait to buy a home. All right, and maybe you wait 4 months, 6 months, and then go back at it. But you're gonna have to work with a lender on that, and it's not gonna cost you anything to get pre-qualified and let them share that information with you.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
No
and,
problem.
and Jesse was really correct in what you want to do is make sure you don't have any debt. If you don't have any debt, you're going to qualify for more mortgage. And that, even though you're looking at just your part-time income, the lowest debt you can have, the better off you are. If you can pay off that car, if you can pay off the credit cards, whatever is out there, pay it off, and that won't count against you. And that's the best use of that, your income from the startup business.
Yes. Yes.
I have like a 632 FICO score, and I've been working on that for years. It's been up and down. The biggest debt that I have really right now is only the student loan. I've taken time on my credit score for over a year now. So I've been working on it, paying off the different things that I had on there. But it's just that I'm in kind of a catch-22 with opening a business and wanting to utilize those funds for the mortgage when there's policies and, I guess, things that you can and can't do to be able to use that for 2 years. So that's why I was asking, because I would like to, if I could utilize the money I'm making there, because I'm making good money at my business, even though it's new. And if there's some way or some means for me to utilize that, I would like to be able to do that. So I
Right.
thank you for your answers, your information.
All right, no problem. Great question, though. All right, I think we're gonna move on right now, Sin.
Yes, we can move on. I don't see any more questions in the chat. If anyone else thinks of more questions, we can take more at the end as well. But I would like to, Sital, are you with us? Just want to make sure you can hear us. We can hear you.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. I'd like to introduce Sital Shah. He's our attorney with Shah Legal Law Firm, and I'll put his contact information in the chat. Over to you, Sital. Thanks for coming on.
Got it. All right, everybody. Good evening, everybody. All right, so I'm the attorney, and I wanted to speak just about some basic stuff. For example, the contract. Whenever you sign a contract in New Jersey, you have a 3 business days to review it with your attorney. Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays don't count. So if you're signing a contract on a Friday, do not panic. I can't reach my attorney. Saturdays, Sundays do not count. I like to call the attorney review period the agree to disagree period. The law says you have the right to review the contract with your attorney, make changes. You could change your mind about the closing date. What if you don't even want the house? You change your mind. You can cancel it in attorney review. Your attorney is going to make changes that are favorable to you. The seller's attorney is going to make changes that are favorable to the seller. Within reason, you may accept those changes or reject those changes. But once you agree, and once the sellers agree to the changes and you both sign off, attorney review is done. That becomes a binding contract. So practically, if you like a home, you've seen a house, you're excited and signed the contract and you want it, he or she that finishes attorney review first wins the game. So the longer you take to sign off on the changes, the longer the seller takes or procrastinates purposely and doesn't sign off on the changes, they're inviting other offers to take the home away from you. So what's the practical thing to learn today? Finish attorney review quickly when you like a home, okay? Now, I often get asked, how much deposit should I put down? Generally, you put $1,000 as a good faith deposit. Then I get asked, how much do I put down? There's no answer. Everyone has a different opinion. Some people will tell you 5%, 3%, 10%, 8% down. There's no answer. You could do whatever you want. Sellers always want you to put more. Buyers always want to put less. Typically, you're going to then, after you decide amount of the deposits, you'll typically have 4 weeks to get a mortgage commitment. Mortgage commitment is a piece of paper from the lender that says, I believe in you, I read all your information, and I'm going to approve you for the loan, and I'm going to give you the money on the day of the closing. Typically, like I said, 4 weeks is sufficient. Home inspections are typically 2 weeks from attorney review, 14 calendar days. You have the right to conduct inspections. You have the right to request for repairs, and then right to negotiate. I'll explain that in a little bit more detail in a second. Other things that are important in a contract, you want to make sure what's included as far as appliances, washer, dryer, refrigerator, stove. The stove is the only legal thing the seller has to provide to you. If you happen to see a refrigerator or other appliances that may be newer or a style that you like, take the 5 minutes and jot it down in the contract. New GE washer, 2 years old washer. Why? There's an assumption on your part that when it's included, what you see is what you get. I've seen situations that 1972 Grandma Special, people remove the dishwasher and put an old one in. It just says that appliances are included. Doesn't say newer, newest, the best is included. So take 5 minutes and jot down those details that are important so you're getting what you expect. Now, one thing is you have to realize dates are very important. Just friendly advice, another tip. You always want to pay attention to dates your attorney tells you. If your attorney says inspections are due within 14 days, get back to me. Mortgage commitment is due within 4 weeks. You must pay attention. The worst thing you can do with lawyers is blow dates. You will not win an argument with an attorney on dates. So if somebody tells you something is due in 7 days, your calendar and diary should tell you 4 with a buffer. If something is due and you're not able to get it done, it's safe to send an email to your attorney and say, I need an extension. The home inspector is sick. He's got a fever. He's got COVID. He can't do it. I need a 10-day extension. Then you request it through your attorney an extension. This way, somebody doesn't say you waived your rights by not asking, okay? Now, as we get through each stage of the contract, your attorney will then also review title work. You want to make sure there's no lawsuits, liens, or judgments on the property. Now, it is not your problem to do this. It's your attorney's problem. It's very important to engage a real estate attorney, not an attorney that does not do real estate. There's a lot of little details and complexities that need to be dealt with. For example, with title work, you want to make sure the seller's alimony is paid off, child support's paid off, water bills, mortgage. Those are all lienable on the property. These are things that your attorney will do. The best part of the closing is it's goal-oriented, it's team-oriented. One person can't be a success. You're working with New Jersey Mortgage Finance, you're working with your agent, the home inspector, the insurance company. Everybody has a common goal to get you through the finish line. What your attorney does, your attorney is your personal bodyguard. That's the person who has to keep everyone in check, even when they're right or even when they're wrong. Also, they vet everybody for you. And it's like the closing is like a moving part. The analogy I like to use, it's like a circus. When you ever go to a circus or been there, there's a lot of action, a lot of things going on nonstop. Your attorney is the ringleader of that circus, working with everybody together, trying to get you to close with a common goal. Now, let's make pretend that you are closing tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Today, your attorney would have already told you how much money you had to bring to closing, which are considered closing costs. You will also visit the property either today or tomorrow morning one more time to ensure there's no damage, vandalism to the property. It's not a second chance to do home inspection, but you want to make sure everything is fine. What does that mean? If you sign the contract and the heating system and air conditioning system works, and in home inspection they work, it should work tomorrow right before closing. It was cold today. Let's say you're checking out the heating system and it's not working. Either repair has to be done, they can give you a credit, and we try to resolve the situation to keep the closing as scheduled. But if there's something so big that requires further evaluation or inspection, closing may have to be delayed until further notice, until a resolution comes between the parties. And at the closing table, then you will sign documents with your attorney, approximately 45 minutes to an hour, and your attorney will then register you as the owner. What I would like to finish with is, if so far, if you haven't remembered what I said, it's important, but you can always contact us via email or our phone and ask us questions. I want everybody to try to hang on the last point I'm trying to make today. I'd save it for the end. I promise you'll find the most value in this point that I'm making, and it will save you money later on. That's a promise. Whenever a buyer buys property, the seller has to provide an inspection to the buyer. That means the seller has to go to the township, pay a fee, and the township inspects the property. Every town has either 1 or 2 inspections. What does that mean? Either the fire department comes to the home, checks the smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, they work, they pass, they sign off on a certificate. Another inspection is called the certificate of occupancy. That's a building inspection. The township comes out, does the inspection, fails it, tells you what to do, passes it, signs off. Every town has either 1 inspection or 2, either the smoke detector, carbon monoxide, or the certificate of occupancy, the building inspection. It's 1 or 2 or both. For example, if you're buying property in one town, it might just be a smoke detector. Another town, it might just be the building inspection. One town, it could be both. You can call any town, they'll tell you what's required. The bottom line, the seller has to give this to you when you close. Now, I will finish with an example. Let's say today you're buying a property in any township, doesn't matter, and you saw a finished basement and you liked it so much, you placed an offer on a home, you saw yourself enjoying the basement and you're very excited. 50% of the population may think, and the other 50% may not think, and ask a question whether the basement's legal. Now, legal means proper permission and done with work inspected by the township. Let's say you made an offer in a town for a finished basement, and that town only requires a carbon monoxide and a smoke detector certification, nothing else. Your attorney will ask, is the basement legal? Please provide me with the paperwork. If the seller provides a certificate of occupancy or the smoke detector certificate, that's the only certificate the township requires and provides it to your attorney. Now, this is where it gets, the details matter. If your attorney accepts the certificate, provides it to you and moves on, that's option A. Or option B, your attorney has to have the wisdom or the experience to know that's not enough. They will ask for permits. Let's assume option A, you get the smoke detector certificate and you close now. 3 years go by, you enjoy the property, the finished basement and everything, and a new buyer now buys your house after you're selling 3 years. The new buyer says, is the basement legal? You say, well, I have a certificate from my closing, the smoke detector certificate, you give it to them. Except this buyer asked more questions than you did. Just remember, everybody's so educated with online and Google, and there's so many people out there much smarter than yourself. This new buyer says, I would like to see the permits. You say, permits? That doesn't sound right. They call the township and they verify that the basement had no proper permits. That means was work done without being inspected. Now the buyer says to the seller, I want you to provide the permits. You will argue and say, well, I only bought this property like that. I didn't do the basement. I didn't do the sheetrock. It was like that. And I have a certificate. That defense will not work. That defense will work in 3rd grade, but not today. The buyer will insist and you will have to correct the problem. Now, how do you solve this problem? It's an expensive problem. Sometimes you have to get a plumber, an architect, engineering, attorney fees, very expensive. You'll be very aggravated in spending money on a basement, legitimizing it, and it wasn't a basement that you created. Now, how do you solve this problem? That's why I waited till the end to state this. It's against my financial interest generally to give advice like this because I make a pretty good living dealing with problems like this for lots of clients. However, two things you can do which cost no money to solve this problem and to have less aggravation after closing. One is to call code enforcement in any township. When you call code enforcement, you can fill out a request called Open Records Public Act. That's Open Records Public Act. It's a free form. You can do it online, in person, with COVID. I believe it's all online. Once you complete it, anyone can complete it. You'll get information about the property you're buying within 10 days. There could be no information from the township or there could be some. Now, anybody's allowed to fill it out. Once you fill it out and you do home inspections, you become a detective. If the seller says to you, I have a brand new roof, I have a brand new water heater, and you find out there's no permits in the town for it, then you learned something today with what I'm telling you. That means the seller has to get the permits and you want them to get it while they're the owners. Why? Because after the closing, you are responsible for this, not the seller, because you now own the property. You want to make sure you deal with this on their watch. So you could fill out that Open Records Public Act as soon as you sign a contract, and there's no cost to it as well. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. I know Cynthia has our brochures, Attorney Shah's Guide to Buying Your First Home in Spanish and English. They're on my website. My website is shahlegal.com. That's with an S, SHAHLEGAL.com. We get a lot of good feedback on it. Last count, we had 6.2 million web hits on it. It's been mentioned on national TV and radio, and we assist clients in every county. So we do closings and we have associates and myself will go to any county you are. So we are located in Edison, New Jersey, but that should not be a barrier of entry to if you would like to ask us for advice. So like I said, we assist clients for real estate in every county in New Jersey. And last, if you'd like to follow us on shahlegal_com, please do so on Instagram. And there'll be special promotions there and reduced fees for clients attending the seminar. God bless everybody, and thank you for listening, and I wish everybody well.
Thank you so much, Satal.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Just
Thank
gonna
you.
share all of your contact information again up on the chat. Is there anyone who has questions for Satal? Anyone who has questions for Jesse or Russell before we sign off here? That's the end of our webinar, but I want to make sure that we answer any questions you might have.
Does he participate in the program as well? Meaning when you get to that point of your home, is he someone you can actually work with?
Are you talking about Satal?
Yes, the lawyer.
Yes, absolutely. If you have any
Okay.
questions, you can give us a call by email or by phone.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I think the contact information, I think they posted it in the chat. So no obligation. If you just have questions, you can email us or give us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're
Sure.
welcome. Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Feel free to unmute.
I have-
Sure.
I'm sorry. My question is about Social Security, disability, and child support. Is that considered income?
Income is considered income if it's permanent. Okay, so if it's something that's going to run out, temporary disability, you might not be able to use that.
No, Social Security,
I'm
disability.
sorry, but I'm just trying to make a point that if it's something like temporary, like some type of temporary income you're receiving, you're not going to be able to qualify for a mortgage. But if something permanent, certainly you can utilize that, or that can be counted as income. The other thing, your other question you had was about alimony. Now,
Like child support.
when I saw somebody had a question about alimony, maybe I'm wrong. Sam, was there a question about alimony at 1.2?
Is that what the SSDI is?
No, that's my fault. I'm not alimony, but child support. Child support.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is with child support, you're not required to include that. My understanding with your application in terms of income, but you can if you like to, and then you can simply just get a statement showing the payments consistently over a period of time, and they can include that as income. But you're not required, from my understanding, with your application for your mortgage to provide that information. You understand what I mean? I don't know who asked that question.
Yes, I understand. I do
Okay.
understand that. And what about, like, I plan on doing it with my mom. And what about pension and her Social Security?
Well, pension is fine. That's not going to be counted as income. Social Security will be counted as household income. And again, everyone who is in that household and needs to provide their monthly income qualify for the mortgage, and gonna have to live in that home for 5 years as primary residence, whoever's on the mortgage. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
No
by the
problem.
way, the pension counts. If you're getting a regular pension, that does count as income, yes.
Thanks
I'm
so
thinking,
much.
I'm thinking for someone who hasn't retired yet, such as myself.
Or
That's what I'm thinking about.
wishing, right?
So what would you guys recommend, like first steps? You're interested in purchasing, and so, I mean, should the first step be to go to Russell? Should it be to go to Jesse? Like, what should the first step be?
Well, I'm gonna have an answer for you, and I know
Okay.
Russell's gonna have an answer for you, and Satal might even have an answer for you. But I'm gonna tell you, it depends on where you are. If
Okay.
you are ready to qualify for a mortgage, you call and get pre-qualified today. I mean, if you've looked at your credit score, you've seen what debt you have, what's on your credit report, and your scores are in line, your debt is in line, and you're ready today, you go to the loan lender request form, fill that out, and you start with getting pre-qualified. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But if you know that you got credit that you need to work on, you start with Russell. And I'll let Russell take it from there.
Absolutely. So Jesse's correct. If you're ready, go to the lender immediately. Go get it taken care of. You can take care of the education part later with me, and you don't need help with your credit score. If you are on the borderline, come in before you start asking for pre-qualifications, because they'll start pulling your credit report and everything. When I pull a credit report, it has no effect on you. It's called a soft pull. So we have the ability to go in and just take a look, give you an idea. Okay, your score's 640, you're going to qualify for it because it says 620. If you have a real question about your score, you can look at some of those free sites like Credit Karma, but that's a completely different score. Credit Karma and a mortgage score are different. We're going to be giving you a mortgage score, one that will give you a really good idea on whether you qualify or not. And so we'll go from there.
Okay.
That's a great question, Barbara.
Thank you.
Yes, good questions. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone on the call who did not register for this event and was just sent the Zoom, please send me in the chat your name and email, or just speak up. I want to make sure you get our email tomorrow that's going to have all these resources and links in it. Because if you're registered, I already have your information. So just check your email tomorrow. It could come via spam. Sometimes that happens, so just be sure to check that. But thank you everyone for joining. Russell, we didn't expect you to come. I'm very happy you were here. Thank you. Jesse, thank you so much. And Satal.
When you have
Thank
it,
you.
when you say Cape May County, I gotta be here. I'm a hometown boy.
That's perfect. Great. I was happy to see you.
Okay,
Thanks for answering a bunch of our questions and being here. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Satal, thanks. Everyone have a
Thank
great
you all
night.
for coming out tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I
guys.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great
Take
night,
care now.
everyone.
Have a great night.
You too.
care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.